the great secret to it, and the secret to the post was I committed to something. When I read the post again, and I read the caption in the original work which I put together, it was all about going and running and moving and committing. The commitment part was the key to that story. And if you want to learn anything about my life and what I've built, it's all about the commitment, the consistency. The consistency comes from the commitment. So that's where that story kind of goes. One day you're going to jump out of bed and say enough is enough. When I wrote these words, they came from a place within of emotion, high emotion. I recall for the longest time in my life not being able to do what I love, not being able to share my gift and passion. My time hadn't come. I hadn't learned enough about the world and experienced enough. But that didn't mean I could accept that. I couldn't accept that I wasn't there yet. And it always felt like a weight on my shoulders that I couldn't share my message with the world. And the moment I built before 5 a.m. and was sharing my ideas with the world, sharing my work, sharing my words, telling the stories which move people's lives, I started to feel alive and very sure that I could do this. And I remember many times in my life saying, enough is enough, that's it. I'm never going back. I'm going to commit to doing something I believe in. And many times that didn't always work out. But when I built before 5 a.m., I distinctly remember sitting down and saying, that's it. Enough is enough. And I committed my entire being, my life, every dollar, every asset to building before 5 a.m., to sharing my gift. And I really did cut everything else out. It was pure commitment. And it still is to this day. That is my life. That's my life's work. And I wouldn't change it for the world. And I remember, I said I was gonna run, no matter the outcome, no matter what happens, I'm gonna run. I'm never gonna stop running because I believe in what I do. And the message I share, and I know I can help people, and I know I can build a great organization and do many great things. And the emotions coming through me at the time were high. I'd completed the blueprint, which is something I always wanted to share for the world. And, when I started, I wasn't sure if any of this would work out, but it was starting to look like it was going to work out. And I was heading to America, and I'd made so many great friends. Some of them were celebrity friends. Some of them were people all over the world, on the East Coast, West Coast of America, and Europe, and obviously around Australia and New Zealand, and all over Asia. But for me, sitting down and writing this work, I remember writing each word and thinking to myself, yeah, okay, I really am committed to this. And I did say enough is enough. And one day I did wake up, and one day I just did it. And I did it with such force and power and certainty that, I've never done anything like that in my life, and not many people ever get that chance to do it. And it's so true. One day you're going to jump out of bed and say enough is enough. And that's the story of my life. And that's the story of everything you guys see today. What would be good to do is to have a look at the original words I wrote and tell you guys a bit more of the story. Has anyone got the script? Cool, thank you. Having a look at this now, yeah. One day you're going to jump out of bed and decide to take things to the next level and blow the world away with your potential. That's so true for me. You're not even going to worry about your next paycheck or your bills or your debts. And I didn't. I just went for it. And those emotions, that belief still exists in me today. You're going to own your life. You're going to walk outside your house, look back at your life and run like you've never ever run before. And that's powerful and true. Those are my own words, which I constructed all those years ago and still very true today. I wasted years living in doubt and fear and worrying about what people would think if I stood up and started talking and sharing my gift with the world. Now that one day is my everyday. And that's true. I lived in fear and doubt. I know it's something that so many people do. They live in fear and doubt. They're not sure if they could share their gifts with the world. They're not sure if they could ever feel that power within. For me, I did break through, and it was the best thing I ever did. Sitting there writing those words at the time, just before I flew overseas, was an amazingly powerful experience. This post and this artwork is central to the whole story as well, because I always like to share the urban feel and vibe of life. A lot of people who follow Before 5 a.m. and my work live in urban places, so they can relate to it. Some of them live in big cities, and some of them aspire to being in big cities or doing things which happen in big cities. So that's where the artwork and inspiration came from. And to this day, I still share this post every now and again. And it's one of my favorites. It's one of the ones that stands out for me as a piece which is a legacy piece for Before 5 a.m. and part of the Joe Duncan collection of work. And I know everyone loves it to this day. Every time I share that or talk about a message which is similar or comes from that baseline, you can feel the energy, because it was pure, it was real, it was who I was at that moment in time, and I'd broken through. And yeah, it's definitely a moment of reflection for me to look back at that and say, wow, I did create it and I did do it. And in retrospect, some of this work here, which is powerful and part of people's lives all over the world, is still very much part of my life, and it's who I am, and I'm still running. I don't think I'll ever stop running.